Barnmates, the 4th episode of Season 3 of Steven Universe. And it is another Lapis Lazuli episode. In a way, it's also a Peridot episode, and it's also a Steven episode. It's actually a deceptively simple episode. It's not nearly as simplistic as the plot itself would have you believe. This episode follows up directly from the end of Same Old World, where Lapis realizes that Peridot is also staying at the barn. And it opens up with Peridot on her recorder scripting out what she's going to say to Lapis next time they talk, with Lapis standing right there next to her. It's a funny little scene, but at the same time, I wonder if that's actually something that Peridot would really do. Is she really that unaware of what's going on around her? It was cute in its own little way, but I just didn't particularly like it. But it does lead into the two of them, Lapis and Peridot, giving their sides of the situation. Lapis tells Steven, she doesn't even acknowledge Peridot at first, ignores her completely, and then just tells Steven that it's not going to work, that she can't live there with Peridot because Peridot is the one who drug her back to Earth, and because Peridot used her for information the same way that the Homeworld Gems did during the war. Even though Peridot didn't know about that, even though Peridot, especially at the time, didn't really see anything wrong with what she was doing, she still reminded Lapis of that part of her life, and that hurt her, and now seeing Peridot reminds Lapis of that. So Lapis storms off, and by storms off, I mean she flies off back to the grain silo that she was sitting on top of when Steven found her in the previous episode, and Peridot gives her side of the story, that she's changed a lot, that she genuinely appreciates people now, and that she wants Lapis to see that. In her own way, even without fully acknowledging that what she did was wrong, because she's still Peridot. She wants Lapis to see that her views on things have changed, and that she as a person has changed, and that she is better. And Lapis won't even give her the time of day. Lapis won't even look her in the eye, except to occasionally glare at her. So Steven and Peridot try a few different ways to get Lapis to at least start forgiving Peridot. They make Lapis a card. Peridot makes a swimming pool for Lapis out of the hole that they dug with the drill. They plug up the bottom and fill it with water. And then Peridot gives Lapis her tape recorder, symbolically giving Lapis a part of herself, since that tape recorder has become so important to her identity. And each time it backfires. Peridot's unintentionally rude with the way she phrases the message inside the card. Peridot doesn't take into account the fact that Lapis was just trapped underwater for a very long period of time, and those are both on Peridot. Not directly, because Peridot was still trying her best, but she still messed up in a roundabout sort of way. It's the third one, the recorder, where things are actually legitimately Lapis's fault, without really any provocation, even after Peridot is very straightforward with Lapis as to why the recorder means so much to her and giving it to her means so much. Lapis destroys it. And then she tells Peridot that the only thing she wants from Peridot is for Peridot to leave, so she does. And that was entirely on Lapis. She's so angry and so hurt that she's just slinging that pain around and she doesn't care who it hits. Yes, Peridot wronged her, but Peridot was a different person at the time, and Lapis won't even take the time to get to know the new Peridot and decide whether or not she likes her. And I genuinely believe that this would have been the last we saw of Peridot, except it is at this point that a Homeworld probe descends into the atmosphere and locks onto Peridot and chases her back to the barn. And I think she called it a roaming eye. It's smaller than the red eye, but it's got kind of the same similar kind of aesthetic, roundish with yellow in the center. And this all harkens back to, all throughout the episode, Peridot would occasionally mention the fact that she has to be different, that Lapis has to acknowledge that she's different, because she blatantly went against Yellow Diamond's orders. And now here is evidence that Yellow Diamond is after Peridot. And because it's only Steven, Peridot, and Lapis at the barn anymore, and since Lapis seems completely disinterested in helping Peridot at all, it's up to Steven to stop this thing from getting to Peridot. Or so it seems, because before any of this happened, before the ship chased Peridot back, Steven explained to Lapis very bluntly that she was wrong, that she was treating Peridot badly, and that she should give her a chance. And it looks like that's what Lapis wants to do now. She has decided to take Steven's words to heart and give Peridot a chance. So she saves Peridot from the roaming eye, and then actually manages to dredge up a bit of concern for Peridot's well-being. And it seems like it's all over until there's some knocking around inside the roaming eye, a little hatch opens on the side, and out pops a ruby. And that's where they leave the episode, guys. It was a cliffhanger episode again. We've been getting a lot of those lately, and I don't dislike it, but I think it's gotten to the point where they need to settle down and start giving us some episodic content again that's tied together thematically rather than plot-wise. That said, what a hook for the next episode. A ruby popped out of the roaming eye. And it can't be the same ruby that we know, because this gemstone is in a different place. It's over its eye. Who is this Ruby? What does she want? Who sent her? It's all very interesting, and it definitely grabs your attention and hooks you in, ensuring that you will be watching the next episode as soon as possible. And I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it had a couple of small issues. I thought the pacing could have been better. While the hook was good, I'm kind of tired of episodes ending with a hook to the next episode. I think that the show could settle down on that a bit, as I've already said. But overall, it was a good episode that showed the beginnings of Lapis and Peridot coming to terms with each other, but not the end of it. I think we are still going to get some more clashes between the two of them going forward. I don't think this is it. It's just a start. However, we also get some really interesting tidbits here. We get to see just how much Lapis does value her relationship with Steven. She values him enough that she trusts him when he tells her that he trusts Peridot and that maybe she should try to trust Peridot as well. That's a big step for someone who's been as abused as Lapis. We also get these little tidbits thrown into Peridot's dialogue. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but she's starting to talk a little bit like Amethyst. She's started phrasing things the way Amethyst does, using vernacular that Amethyst would use. She started deepening her voice occasionally to sound kind of cool the way that Amethyst will typically do. And it makes me wonder, we saw back in Log Date that Amethyst and Peridot have been hanging out, or at least had been hanging out during the construction of the drill. And it would seem that they've continued to do so even off screen. Which is a very interesting thing to include sort of in the background of this episode. Overall, not the most overtly thought-provoking episode of the show, but definitely a good one that I really enjoyed, that I think did its job well, and is certainly a welcome addition to the canon of the series. But guys, if you have seen this episode, what did you think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.